wise man once said, arrogance is bliss. That man was me. But when one coins a phrase, he purchases his famous last words. So woe is me and my philosophy.
Shook the cold hand of William Blake, but the promise at hand I intended to break with a haughty demeanor but ignorant pose. I planted the seed where the poison tree grows. You see, I lived in Alaska. The cold makes everything freeze, and Alaska's no place to study herbology. So I packed 3 small bags and I sailed across the seas and settled in England to study the trees.
First night,
I laid restless till 3, 'cause the eyes in that portrait stared right back at me, no matter where I moved my head. So I said, what's the use? And threw off the covers and slipped on my shoes. I strayed from the path, from the trail and the woods to the creek where the oak and magnolia stood. And suddenly I heard a sound from downstream, and a frightening, torturous, terrible scream. Proceed with caution. A curious stranger is an ignorant fool. So I crept along, hair on end, hands clenched to fists, and I knew that I shouldn't but couldn't resist, because I grew suspicious, determined to find the source of the scream that played back through my mind. So I tiptoed downstream with my curious eyes, and I shouted hello, but I heard no reply. I crept even further and further until I was out of the woods, staring up at the hill. At the top of the hill, I laid eyes on the sign. The red Blake's apple orchard open 6 until 9. I walked through the entrance. To my horror I found a man holding an apple lying dead on the ground. I stifled my scream with a trembling hand and stood over the corpse of the pale, lifeless man. The apple he held had a core black as hate, so I stole the fruit from his grasp, ran away, and I could not wait to get back and just lay in my bed where I could sleep away fear and have sweet dreams instead. But the apple, it filled me with great fascination. This rarity called for experimentation. The very next day, I walked back through the woods past the creek where the oak and magnolia stood, and I knocked on the door of what most would call fate, and He opened abruptly, his glare validating suspicion, but I held the upper hand here, and a flask with the cure that lasts up to 1 year. I held out my hand with a welcoming grin, but the goosebumps had formed from my wrists to my shins. I know what you saw in the orchard last night, he said, and my stomach had filled up with fright. And you won't tell a soul, because no one will care when a new man in town has old news to share. I planted the seed where the poison tree grows. Then he slammed the door shut, and I ran to the station to tell them the horror of the whole situation. They listened and said, well, we'll check it out, but it's all just a misunderstanding, no doubt. At the top of my lungs I yelled, no, don't you see? But just like Blake said, they would not believe me. Then wait, did you catch the name of this man? No, I did not, but I'm sure that I can if I need to. No, we will take it from here. There's no need to worry, we'll make this all clear. But I was still worried, it still wasn't clear, and as instincts insist, I had reasons to fear. Of my courage with whiskey and wine. After 5 or 6 drinks I was feeling quite fine, with a hearty demeanor and ignorant blows. I walked to the site where the poison tree grows. I stared at the tree and I studied the roots, examined the trunk and inspected the fruit. Nothing suspicious or out of its place, but the fruit lush and shining I brought to my face. That red shining vengeance, it hung from the tree. That red shining vengeance, it hung just for me. So I brought that clear flask to my lips and I drank, bit into the fruit and my heart drew a blank. with the cold hand of the woman in red, and the promise at hand would be kept till he fled. The fear he inflicted, I give him the same, as my ghost stands beside him and whispers his name.